Tonight, new as we come on the air, Donald Trump directs his Attorney General to release information on Jeffrey Epstein's case. The directive after a bombshell report.
The president wanted me to share a note from his physician.
Plus, the U.S. president's diagnosis and questions over his hand apparently covered in makeup. The rising tide of fear around contaminated waters across Canada.
I ended up throwing up and then running to the bathroom every 5 seconds.
What's behind the wave of closures and the first-hand account of what could happen? And Coldplay's cold call-out during an awkward kiss cam moment.
Oh, look at these two. All right, come on, you're okay?
Why this surprise reaction is raising eyebrows.
Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy.
CTV National News with Omar Sachedina.
Good evening. We begin with breaking news tonight. Donald Trump has demanded U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi to, quote, produce any and all pertinent grand jury testimony in relation to Jeffrey Epstein's case. The request is pending court approval and comes after bombshell allegations from the Wall Street Journal tonight, saying Trump signed a racy letter to Epstein for his 50th birthday back in 2003. The financier later became a convicted sex offender. According to the Journal, the letter contains typewritten text framed by the outline of a naked woman and ends with the following words: "Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret." Trump denies writing the letter and is threatening to sue the paper. The Epstein case has been the source of an ongoing feud between Trump and many of his MAGA supporters who feel he has failed to deliver on a campaign promise to release information. Also in Washington tonight, the White House is pulling back the curtain on a new medical diagnosis for Donald Trump.
In recent weeks, President Trump noted mild swelling in his lower legs. In keeping with routine medical care and out of an abundance of caution, this concern was thoroughly evaluated by the White House medical unit.
That swelling caused by a condition known as chronic venous insufficiency, in which valves in the veins don't work properly, allowing blood to pool. The White House also addressing bruising apparently covered by makeup on Trump's hands, saying that's consistent with minor soft tissue irritation from frequent handshaking. Trump's doctor detailing all of this in a letter, which also stated the president remains in, quote, excellent health. Back here at home, there are new warnings about a hidden danger at beaches across the country tonight. From coast to coast, many of them closed because of high E. coli levels, which can cause severe stomach issues, skin irritation, infection, or respiratory disease. CTV's Adrian Gabriel on what happened to a teen after she tried to beat the heat.
A red flag risk.
The worst temperatures for E. coli are right what we're seeing now, 30 degrees to 35 degrees.
With a heat warning in place for parts of Ontario, Quebec, and eastern Canada, cooling off in the lake can at times pose a shocking health risk.
I was bleeding. I couldn't keep anything down. I ended up throwing up and then running to the bathroom every 5 seconds.
Lindsay Page ended up in hospital for 10 days this month after a visit to Nickel Beach along the Ontario shores of Lake Erie.
We just kind of went in the water a couple times to cool off. I was about up to just under my chest area, I was right here.
While the beach she visited wasn't closed due to E. coli at the time, the 17-year-old was still diagnosed with an E. coli infection. Her doctors believe she was infected while swimming in Lake Erie.
They said I could feel the symptoms for up to 6 weeks.
While the beach Page swam at remains open today, across the country from Vancouver to PEI, multiple waterways from coast to coast are closed due to high E. coli levels. Warm summer weather across parts of the country is a contributing factor.
Almost an incubator for E. coli to reproduce and cause problems for swimming holes, for lakes.
Multiple studies have raised concerns about water safety tests on E. coli, often taking too long to alert the public of unsafe levels.
I really think it's important to keep up with the E. coli management.
One sure sign of dangerously high E. coli levels is a red flag like the one behind me. As for the heat wave, well, it's already lifted for here in southern Ontario. It's expected that by tomorrow, Quebec will get some reprieve, and by Monday, Atlantic Canada will be released from the sizzling summer temperatures. Adrian Gabriel, CTV News, Toronto.
And a shocking attack in Toronto where a 71-year-old woman was loading groceries in her car at around 9:30 this morning when she was stabbed and killed.
This was appears to be an unprovoked attack, and so it's being treated with the utmost seriousness.
Shauna Spastanji was stabbed in a parking lot and rushed to hospital but died of her injuries. Police are searching for the suspect. Police say a video of the incident does not appear to show an altercation before the victim was attacked. The Prime Minister fielded some tough questions from First Nations leaders at a summit in Ottawa today, raising concerns over the government's controversial new law to fast-track national projects. Mark Carney said he was ready to listen. CTV's Rachel Aiello now on whether people felt heard.
Prime Minister Mark Carney opened today's major project summit trying to turn the page.
We together can write a new chapter in the relationship between the Government of Canada and First Nations. And those aren't just words. This isn't an aspiration. This is the law.
And while Carney stood by his law, those in the room say he also heard them out.
The agenda was, I would say, abandoned to accommodate the speeches of the chiefs and the concerns of the chiefs, which I feel was a good move on the Prime Minister's part.
The hours of meetings started with skepticism from chiefs who are still upset by the government ramming through new legislation that empowers Cabinet to fast-track national interest projects like pipelines.
He's got to come up with some commitments, firm commitments.
I don't think we've gotten to a place where you're going to see any agreement come out of this.
But when it wrapped, there was some cautious optimism.
I'm glad that the Prime Minister and Cabinet Minister stayed all day, but still, I think the way the legislation is crafted, there's, as we heard today from many chiefs, there's still a lot of trust issues.
Outside the closed-door conversations, though, emotions ran high.
This is what we call our native land.
This summit is a political theater.
And while views varied on what the Prime Minister had to say, there was agreement that what matters is action, something Carney's government will soon be tested on.
There's many steps to complete before we actually select a project, and the Prime Minister wants to make sure that that's done well.
Today, the government committed to further Indigenous engagement, but also said they plan to get their new major projects approvals office up and running by Labor Day. Omar?
All right, Rachel, thank you. With just 2 weeks until the deadline for a trade deal, the White House took a new shot at Canada today.
We'll see. The trade team continues to be very active in our conversations and discussions with Canada. The president himself has said, unfortunately, our neighbors to the north have been pretty difficult to deal with when it comes to matters on trade.
And as that trade war grinds on, a new warning tonight that Ottawa's increase in military spending won't be enough to stave off a recession this year. Here's CTV's Judy Trin.
From boosting the pay of soldiers to buying new equipment, the Canadian government will spend $9 billion more this fiscal year on the military, boosting the bottom line of companies like Hepburn Engineering that makes refueling equipment for Canada's Navy.
That's where the demand's going to be, when we have a world that's a lot more dangerous.
Overall, the federal government will spend about $50 billion by March and finally meet the 2% NATO target. But the investments may not be enough to protect from a recession.
Defense spending will help to offset some additional further negative impacts, but we do think the Canadian economy is already in a recession, and it will really take an early resolution of the trade war to get us out of that.
Oxford Economics projects that Canada will be in a trade war until the end of 2025 and that 140,000 jobs could be lost. The impacts are already being felt in steel, aluminum, and auto industries.
The direct hit from the trade war will soon begin to broaden to other sectors of the economy and lead to a much broader, more widespread downturn.
For now, Hepburn Engineering feels shielded. It has 100 employees and is hiring more as it competes for new military contracts.
The business has to come our way, and then we make sure we're big enough to be able to handle it. And so we've added a number of employees this year, and if things keep growing, we'll add more.
Economists are now focused on the August 1st deadline for a new trade deal with the U.S. Earlier this week, Prime Minister Mark Carney said it was unlikely that Canada would emerge from the negotiations without some form of tariff. Omar.
All right, Judy, thank you. Many Canadians are about to feel a massive financial squeeze when it comes to their biggest expense, their mortgage. CTV's Heather Wright takes a look at just how bad things could get when they go up for renewal.
More than 1 million mortgages are set to renew this year, with many borrowers facing interest rates much higher than what they have been paying.
The lowest quote we received was 3.86 and the highest was 4.49.
That's a big jump from the 1.9% Sean Hannafin and his wife had been paying on their mortgage.
But we're also lucky enough that we're towards the end of our mortgage where the principal's a little lower. I can't imagine being a new homeowner and trying to afford like a $750,000 to $1 million mortgage right now. It'd be quite difficult.
According to the Bank of Canada, nearly 60% of Canadian mortgage holders will renew their loans this year and next. As a result, many will be facing significantly higher monthly payments. And while the central bank has made a number of rate cuts over the last year, with the policy rate holding at 2.75%, it is still much higher than rates 4 or 5 years ago.
This is a hike, and the underlying theme is always the same. Everything else has gone up. And at the end of the day, that's what makes this continuous increase just that much more painful.
The sharp increase in interest rates has led many Canadians to explore alternative lenders to try and get the best rate possible. Experts do recommend shopping around, but also urge consumers to read the fine print.
You should always ask yourself, if this alt lender is making me a much better offer than one of the main banks, what's the catch? There will be a catch. Maybe you can entertain that catch. Maybe you're willing to take that trade-off, but you should always be aware that there is a trade-off.
With inflation edging up slightly in June, many economists expect the Bank of Canada will hold its key lending rate at its next announcement July 30th. There will be, however, 3 more opportunities for a rate cut by the end of the year. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
E-scooter injuries are accelerating across the country, prompting warnings for younger riders and complaints that the rules are not clear.
Different jurisdictions seem to have inconsistencies across the board when it comes to rules around the use of these things.
New data shows hospitalizations connected to e-scooters shot up 61% for kids aged 5 to 17 between 2022 and 2024. Hospitalizations for adult women increased by 60% and by 22% for men. In most of these cases, riders were not wearing helmets. In Alberta, measles cases continue to rise, and babies too young to be immunized are especially vulnerable. A harsh reality for one mother when her daughter contracted the virus. CTV's Kathy Lee finds out how the little girl's life is now changed forever.
The calm of nature's sanctuary, a stark contrast to the storm this family has endured. 9-month-old Kimmy, better and happier now, but 5 months ago, fighting for her life.
You honestly don't expect for your 4-month-old to be diagnosed with something that was essentially eradicated.
The infant contracted measles after a routine vaccination appointment at a hospital near Edmonton, but still too young to get immunized for that particular virus. 5 days of fever over 100, and then the spots exploded all over her tiny body.
She didn't really eat, because her throat was so swollen. It was scary.
The measles outbreak continues to spread in Alberta, the second province after Ontario to have more confirmed cases compared to the United States.
What we're seeing in this current outbreak is people under 15, 16. A majority of those are in the younger age, and we see more complications in the younger age, less than 5 years of age.
And some complications can linger. Kimmy may have recovered, but her immune system weak from the virus, making it difficult to fight off other illnesses. But those aren't the only challenges.
She can potentially lose her hearing. The side effects from the disease can show up, 7 to 10 years down the road from now. Like, her brain can swell randomly and she can die.
Which means Kimmy isn't in the clear yet.
This is what happens when you don't vaccinate.
A mother's stern message to hopefully prevent more families from suffering their plight while they brave the uncertainty of their long journey. Kathy Lee, CTV News, Bow Valley Provincial Park.
British researchers say 8 babies haven't spared genetic diseases thanks to a medical experiment where they were born using DNA from 3 people.
Rapid heart failure, sudden death, neurodegenerative diseases, for example. So that's what we're trying to prevent.
New 3-person in vitro fertilization combines the egg and sperm from a mother and father with a second healthy egg from a donor woman. The procedure prevents the transfer of mutated genes from inside the mother's mitochondria, or the cell's energy factories, that could cause incurable and potentially fatal disorders.
When you're talking about embryos, it will always be controversial for some people, but I would reassure people that a lot of thought and consideration has gone into this program. We are very respectful to the families involved, to the embryos involved, to the donors involved. Everyone is counseled and supported really well throughout this process.
And coming up, wearing out their welcome.
I'm in shock. I'm devastated.
A landlord's nightmare. Plus, what this cat's weight loss journey has inspired. A PEI landlord who thought she was renting to 3 university students and their mother is on the hook for tens of thousands of dollars in damages, and she's sounding the alarm on rental disputes playing out across the country. Here's CTV's Maria Saru.
2 cats.
Kittens left behind after being bred in the bathroom, but that's not all coming out of the woodwork.
I'm in shock. I'm devastated. Seeing it being destroyed, not being able to do anything about it. It's very gutting.
Tamara DeVries is still discovering new damage after her former tenants were evicted Monday.
The kitchen is incredibly filthy. You can take a look at the fridge, the freezer. All the appliances are missing, cabinets are broken.
She thought there were 4. Instead, DeVries says 12 people, and at one point, 14 animals lived here. If it wasn't for the crown molding, this living room might be hard to recognize. The dining chairs are in pieces. One back door is missing. In total, there's about $80,000 in damages DeVries says she's on the hook for.
And outside, things aren't much better. That's a hill of horse manure you see behind me, and it smells like it. DeVries says her former tenants dumped truckloads across the property, including the well, the main water source.
It took 5 months to evict the family. Hearings with the PEI Regulatory and Appeals Commission, known as IRAC, were postponed. Tenants appealed, and the process dragged out.
I don't feel any protection. Not only that, but there is no consequences for the damages caused.
In Ontario, the eviction process can take even longer, sometimes more than 7 months. By contrast, British Columbia has one of the fastest timelines, with tenants out usually within weeks. But here in PEI, the red tape is discouraging small landlords, says the Residential Rental Association of PEI's executive director.
We've got a lot of good tenants, and it's difficult for them because properties are going to be taken off the market.
In a statement to CTV, IRAC said the timeline associated with the appeal process is dependent upon a number of factors, including complexity of the file. DeVries says for her, the damage is done. She's urging the province to make changes so others don't go through the same. Maria Saru, CTV News, New Glasgow, Prince Edward Island.
Still ahead, a not-so-candid camera. How Coldplay turned this couple into a viral sensation for all the wrong reasons. A Canadian has become the most expensive player in women's soccer history.
I just felt like now is the right time, and it's always been my dream to play for a club like Arsenal as well, and they're doing so well.
Olivia Smith set a new benchmark with a reported £1 million transfer from Liverpool to Arsenal in the UK. That's more than $1.8 million Canadian. The previous record was £900,000. The 20-year-old has agreed to a 4-year deal. Back in 2019, she became the youngest woman ever to play for Canada at just 15 years old.
Yeah. Oh, look at these two. All right, come on. You're okay? Oh, what? Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy.
An awkward viral moment for the man hiding for cover from the kiss cam at a Coldplay concert in Boston. Internet sleuths say the man is the CEO of a tech company and the woman the company's HR director.
So confident, so bright, and he's just a lot of fun.
And an Ottawa cat known as Biggie Smalls, who became a TikTok sensation weighing in at 43 pounds, 4 times the size of an average cat, has trimmed down, losing 16 pounds since Christine Sagan rescued him earlier this year. All the interest has inspired her to create a not-for-profit animal rescue for overweight cats, trying to shed a few pounds. Still ahead, a story that's out of this world. Why there's a call for Ottawa to get into the UFO tracking game. Consider it a Canadian version of the X-Files. The country's top science advisor is calling on the government to create a new body to track and investigate UFO reports. Here's CTV's John Valley-Rao.
Look at it, it's behind the tree. What is that?
To get an idea of just how common UFO sightings are, for fun, we decided to take to a Toronto sidewalk with a sign and a simple question. And within minutes, people started telling us their stories.
There was this light above me. It was really bright. I mean, at first I thought it'd be a plane, but it seemed to be like a white light, and it was moving really, really fast. We looked into the field, and there was this big glowing orb. It vanished. It didn't go up, it didn't go any direction, it just kind of disappeared.
Witnesses often don't know who to contact to report a sighting, but a new report from the Office of Canada's Chief Science Advisor is recommending the process be simplified.
The main big sort of point from this is that it should be very clear to everybody where these things get reported.
For years, there's been plenty of talk about videos shot by U.S. military pilots. My gosh! Filming what used to be called UFOs, and now known as unidentified aerial phenomena, or UAPs. The Sky Canada report is recommending a single government service be established, which would collect, study, and share information about sightings, in part to combat misinformation and conspiracy theories.
And there's no question that the vast majority are explainable as stars, planes, planets, and what have you. But there's a small fraction every year that don't seem to have an easy explanation.
Other recommendations include making a bilingual reporting app to help people report sightings more easily. The Sky Canada report also suggests Transport Canada should encourage pilots, cabin crews, and air traffic controllers to report UAP sightings without fear of stigmatization.
It definitely was a flying object of some sort. I mean, I'm not quite sure if it was necessarily alien.
Because it turns out when you ask this question, it doesn't take long to get a yes. John Valley-Rao, CTV News, Toronto.
And that's a snapshot of this Thursday. Heather Wright is here tomorrow, and I'll be on parental leave over the next few weeks, but I'll see you right here back in August. For all of us at CTV National News, thanks for watching, and good night.